Okay, looks like we're live. Om lokaha samastaha suki nobavantu. May all beings be happy and peaceful. What do you all think about this breakout? I can tell you myself, I wasn't expecting it. I was in the shower when it happened, actually. It's Friday. Interesting day for a breakout. We'll see. We're going to talk about whether this can continue. And we're going to explore the 24, 25K potential targets for Bitcoin, and we'll see about 1,800 to 2,000 to Ethereum. We're going to make some arguments for and against. What do you all think? Where do you think we're headed? Are we headed much higher? Is this the end of the bear market? What do you think? Is the chat working? It says it's disconnected. Can someone, let me see if I can do it. Where is my chat? Okay, that worked. So before we get into the charts, it's interesting to note that there's several of the small cap superstars that I mentioned in the small cap superstars report, which you can find on my website, that are up over 200% since I released this report. This was end of December, around the 31st of December is when I released this, and they're up 200%. Now, I'm sure that they're going to pull back at least somewhat from here, but just the power of being able to know which small caps really have the most potential for $150 is a steal. So I'm going to plug this for the next couple of months because this is the time when it's the most important. Actually, right now, probably I would say the next month or two is the best time to really be researching this. It's a 40 to 45 page report, and there's 10 of my picks, my solid picks. I won't be investing in anything else aside from these when it comes to small caps. So also, of course, there's other resources as well. I'm currently working on a price action course that's a more advanced course that is the distillation of all the teachings in these first 5. And I'm trying to make it really crystal clear and add some refinements as well. And there will be a discount for C3 members. I like to drop discounts in the C3 group. So if you haven't joined the C3 group, all you need to do is make a deposit on MEXC, and that's it. Send me your UID or make a purchase on the website. That just shows me that you support me, and that's how I feel comfortable. There's a fair exchange, me supporting you all. So can you guys chat? There's 17 of you now, I think. I don't know if I trust these numbers. Can somebody say something in the chat? I feel like YouTube just kind of messes with me when it comes to doing live streams. So let's look at the Dixie first, because the Dixie is actually, it looks like it's actually headed even further south from here. And I'm expecting strong support between 100 and 101, but I'm expecting some consolidation here, which of course is giving room for a sustained rally for crypto and stocks. So if we see something like this, when the Dixie does come back, it's going to be a strong one, folks. It's probably going to rip back up again. And what we're looking for, that's of course the turnaround, the turning point here is when crypto's going to likely start to really sell off. So that's why we're paying close attention to this, okay? And then it's going to probably rip up and hopefully make a lower high somewhere up here, maybe between 107 and say 110. And then maybe start to come back down again. And at that point, that would be the perfect place to begin really accumulating in earnest, in my humble opinion, not financial advice, when it comes to cryptocurrency. So we're paying close attention to that. But right now, no signs that this downtrend is going to let up. But there are some signs that it will start to consolidate here. So when it comes to the stock market, we're seeing the S&P 500 really start to rally again, continue. It didn't really... You see these lines, they're not arbitrary here. It found support again. I was expecting, or hoping rather, that it would come down a little bit lower and allow for a deeper, healthier pullback for Bitcoin, Ethereum. Alas, that was not the case. So now we're back up close to 4K. And so the question is, will it push up higher? most likely wants to push up to 41, maybe even come up to this monthly level of 41.73. And this would be where Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the rest of the crypto sphere starts to really top out, in my humble opinion, at least in the short term. And so now let's take a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we'll look at some of the alts. I'll look at alts by request. I'm guessing or assuming that the chat is not working. That sucks. How do I fix this? Wait until we try to reconnect you. Yeah, I don't like YouTube very much. So Bitcoin 22,300. Wow, look at how that happened so fast. Again, what happened? What were the signs of a breakout here? Let's just break this down, because it's important whenever you see a breakout to really study the price action around that breakout and see. It was building up for quite a while. I was sort of in disbelief that it would break out. I did have an alert set. My alert did go off, but then I went and took a shower. And in a 5-minute period, we see this here. This is a Marubozu candle. Notice how I dropped down to the lower time frames. So that gives me the precise entry point for Bitcoin, or at least where the ideal entry point, where it should have been. What happened around this zone that hadn't happened before previously, if you go back and you look at 5-minute candles, it penetrated above, but then you see these strong rejection wicks back inside. Also happened here, okay? Not sustainable. But in this case, it was sort of climbing up. It was creeping up, and it was that stair-stepping movement. This is a healthier uptrend. Of course, we're looking on a 5-minute chart here, but healthy uptrend, and then it broke out. Actually didn't even try to retest here, because it had already attempted to break out on several occasions, and we saw the failed breakdown from the ascending triangle, and now it broke out above. This was actually the entry trigger for the long. That was the entry trigger, but I was not in a trading mood, so it didn't take the trade, and wasn't paying close enough attention. So, and here we have a 3% move since then. But have no fear. There's always going to be more opportunities. Also, one thing to keep in mind here is that you might or might not have noticed this. Take a look to the left. Always zoom out and look to the left. This is a supply zone, okay? So I would be wary. I'm not entering any long positions here, because I think that Bitcoin, at best case scenario, it will consolidate here for the rest of the weekend, okay? Maybe it just rips all the way up to 24K. I mean, who knows at this rate, because we had that sort of a move here. It may happen, but I think it's more likely that it consolidates, best case scenario, but actually may come back down and for once retest this previous breakout here. And that may be an entry point there. So that would be 21,460. Maybe an entry there. I'm hesitant to trade on the weekends, but it could be that this weekend is really a crazy alt season, a mini alt season, that a lot of the alts go off. And man, what is the point? The whole reason I do these lives is so that I can actually see the chats and interact with my community, and YouTube has restricted this on several occasions. I don't know why the fuck they're doing this, but it's really annoying. So I'm just going to give you my read, and I'm also going to try and tune in and see what I think is best, what I can offer that's best for you all right now, because that's the whole reason that I'm here in the first place. So I think that it should come down. I would like it to come down. I would like it to come back down and retest, and then maybe push back up again from there. This is not an entry place for Bitcoin. This is a potential resistance zone for Bitcoin. Okay. But ultimately, if we get that retest, it does come back down. It does this, and then it starts to break above. Then what are we targeting? Well, initial targets conservative, obviously back up here, maybe around 22,700. But then the sky's the limit for Bitcoin. I mean, all the way up to 24,376 would be my next target. And then looking at possibly 25,250, it might even come up a little bit higher than that and lift above this resistance level temporarily. But that is really, I mean, if it can consolidate here, I mean, you never know, right? It could consolidate here and it's not break. If it's showing a similar pattern to what we saw here, maybe it does break down and consolidate in this range here, and then it breaks out from here. Then we have to really seriously reassess whether this bear market, whether we're entering the end of the bear market, which I would say that there's a very slim possibility of this happening, but we have to at least entertain that possibility, right? So, but I'd be looking for signs of weakness between 24,300 and 25,300 and slightly beyond. I'd be looking for some rejection wicks up here. I'd be looking to see a breakdown. So once Bitcoin does get back up to that level, which maybe we're getting it too far ahead of ourselves here, but once it does come up here and we see it reject here from this 24,250, that'd be a short trigger, probably all the way back down again at minimum, and this is more of a swing trade positional play, but at minimum to 18,675. If it holds there, great. From there, I'd have to reassess, but I would not be surprised to see it come all the way back down again. And maybe we see a spring sort of action here down a little bit lower. If that happens, then I would say, okay, the bottom's in. That's when I would say the bottom's in for Bitcoin. If we see that, and this would be one big accumulation zone, okay? That could be wishful thinking. But I think there's a lot of bulls right now that are saying we're already, you know, just emerging from the end of the bear market. It's similar to what happened in 2019. And if we go back to 2019, you'll see that there was that sort of disbelief as Bitcoin went from about 4,100, and then in a single day we had this candle here, and then it just never, it pulled back, but it took actually a couple of weeks for it to really pull back here, and then it continued up from there. But this was a very different circumstance than what we have today. The bear market had already fully played out. If we were looking at the same timeline, then we'd probably be around here. If we're looking on the same timeline as far as the number of days goes for a bear market. And if we look at the EMAs on the weekly, this is one of the main uses of the EMAs for me. I would say that, see here how they were really sloping and then they started to lose their slope. Actually, that's not, where are we now? That was 2015. Okay, so see how they were sloping downward and then they start to lose their slope and then they crossed. Here they got really close together and then it pushed up and it started to reverse there. Well, if you notice, what are we seeing right now? They've been coming down. They never really flattened out. It's a very dramatic move up here. So I don't like dramatic moves. It's usually a sign of manipulation. So just be aware of that, okay? So now let's look at Ethereum and see where Ethereum is headed and what's going on with that one. So we had this little range here. A couple deviations above, rejection, didn't really sell off very strong. It's characteristic of a strong uptrend. You see the EMAs. I'm using the same EMAs here, the 18 and the 20, the 12 and the 21. And usually it will come back below at some point in an uptrend. And it actually did that here and then found support. And then we have this blast off here. What was a sign of a breakout with Ethereum? It wasn't as clear because it's not as clean of a range, but let's just actually say that, let's just call this the top of the range here. Okay, and you notice on the 15-minute, there was this candle here. If we drop down to the lower time frames, what you'll see with Ethereum was, again, a strong Marubozu candle here. Okay, with no retest. Sometimes you don't get the retest. But now notice here, these strong candles up, now deceleration. So the momentum is slowing down. Now, why is that? Is there a particular reason for that? Is it just a pause before the next move up? What do you know? Okay, look to the left. Always look to the left and see What's this over here? 1677. This is resistance, okay? This is a resistance area for Ethereum. Expect resistance here. This is not a place to long it. There's not enough reward as per the risk. Okay, there's not enough. Okay, maybe Ethereum continues to push higher in the coming hours. Maybe over the weekend it starts to do something like this, gets back inside. Guess what? That's a short trigger. Okay, shorting it at least down to here, down to 16, and waiting to see if there's a retest. If it retests successfully, comes back up, that's a long trigger. Okay, and a more and then you've got to see if it can hold above here. First target back at 1676, and then from there, where are we targeting for Ethereum? Okay, take a look to the left. What do you see? What's the next level of resistance? It's at around 1780, so it's $100 more. Okay, second take profit level. Okay, and then from there, what are we looking at? I'd probably be looking at the mid between 1786 and 2018. Okay, so that is roughly, and let's see what that lines up with. Yep, so we're there right now. This is about 1900. So that would be another take profit level for me. And then ultimately targeting, if Bitcoin comes back up to 25K, then I don't see why Ethereum can't come back to $2,000. Okay, that would be the long setup. Now, if on the other hand, you start to see Ethereum, it starts to come back down below this level here, it fails on the retest. So let's just say that it comes down and back inside this range here. Well, can it hold down here at 15.15? If it does, maybe another long, but also could be a sign of some weakness here. Now, even still, it would still be intact if it came back down again, and that would be a long trigger here. But once it starts really coming down at this phase, at this stage in the game, I was expecting more of a pullback to 1465 and then 1425 and then down from there, but it hasn't done that. Because this move, it is a strong move up. Again, what goes up must come down, and if it goes up quickly, it's likely going to come down just as quickly. That's what concerns me about this. It takes a lot of subtle precision to be able to trade this. There's a lot of nuance to it. The breakouts are happening on 5-minute candles, and we know that there's some manipulation at work here, and that this is not all powered. This is not fueled by retail. Maybe some of it is, but this is not. Retail just doesn't all of a sudden get super excited and everyone just goes and buys a bunch of Bitcoin. That has not been the sentiment on YouTube, and my channel is one strong indication of that. If this was retail, there'd be 10 times the number of people viewing this live right now. There'd be at least that, 20 times, okay? This is not retail, and don't let them fool you. So be careful. Be careful, because this is by design. It's a trap, okay? There's a lot of traps out there right now. I mean, this is not, we know this. We're beyond conspiracy theories here. There's a lot of traps. And so I'm looking to see, I've got a certain timeline looking at, okay, FOMC February 1st, 25-point basis hike. We already know what they're gonna do. It's priced in, guys. It's already priced in. So at that point, then what other reason will there be to be bullish? Okay, likely going to see another pullback, maybe one final pullback, deep pullback, back down to the bottom of the range before we can start to say, okay, this is looking, but still looks good. This still looks good because this is a sign that smart money is really getting ready. They're getting ready. So they're getting ready to really move it. This is not, this is not the actual markup. Okay. And those that think that this is markup, they get really proud on crypto Twitter. And I've been seeing a lot of the older accounts talking about it. And they're saying, oh, there's no chance it's going down to 10K. Well, it's probably a less chance than there was a couple of months ago. But Bitcoin just moved 45%, 40 to 45% in the last week or two. So a move back down 50%, would that really surprise you? It shouldn't. Be prepared for all outcomes. Be neutral. So let's look at some of the alts and see what we see. I went through a lot of alts on Wednesday. I would not long AVAX here. I mean, look at AVAX. It's pushing up. Maybe it breaks out. It's just way overextended to me. Where would I be looking at resistance for AVAX? I mean, if I were already in this trade, I would have been taking profits here, which obviously smart money did. If it can push back above, then you've got your range in between here, which is 1978 to 1774. So if AVAX pushes up, gets back inside, consolidates, there's your trigger, okay? And then I'd be taking profits somewhere in the middle here, around 1870 maybe, and then up top here 1980, and then I'd have to reevaluate. But I'd actually be more prone to believe that it's going to head down. I'm not taking any trades on alts over the weekend unless we see, I mean, we could see, I mean, Solana's up 11.5% today. We could see some of these really pump over the weekend with Bitcoin, and maybe that's by design to get a little bit of a pump and then some more consolidation for Bitcoin, Ethereum, so that some of these alts like Solana can really run. Solana maybe will, because a lot of the times, again, when you see this, it's a failed breakdown, deviation outside this range, back inside, and now it's pushing all the way to the top in a very short time period. Wow, that's a lot of green candles there for Solana. I wouldn't long it here, but it could. I mean, there's no telling really what it could do when it has the green light from Bitcoin, Ethereum. So it could come back up and really break above, and in which case I'd be targeting the shaded zone, which is a supply zone around $27, $28. I think ultimately Solana will get back there, but I don't like to take trades where there's just been a really strong move without a pullback. Okay, so that's just one of my rules, and that has helped me in a lot of cases. It's protected me. So Solana maybe comes up here and then you get your long trigger, but most likely I think it's hard to say right now, but it may come back down again in here. If it comes back and then starts to find support here, that's an excellent long trigger for Solana. And be careful fading this move right now, because you just don't know. What we saw with Bitcoin, where every time it looked like it was going to pull back, it started to give some signs. It's important not to try to guess, not to try to anticipate. Just it's important to see the moves play out and respond in an appropriate way. So with MATIC, it's kind of an interesting phase that I'm in right now, because like a lot of the content that I'm creating, I get feedback, but it's not all that much. And right now I actually live for these lives because I actually get to communicate with my community. And I'm not, the irony is, like, it's a test from the universe is the way I see it, because I'm literally just talking to myself. I have no idea whether this is even helpful, but hey, my intention is pure. So it's a really interesting time for being an influencer, and also not just wanting to create cryptocurrency videos, but also like use my other skills and talents as well on this channel. And so it's been a really interesting time for me. So if you are paying attention, I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments. I'm not sure if you can use the comments right now, but maybe when the live stream finishes, all your support is much appreciated. So let's just briefly look at MATIC. I think I mentioned that I don't like MATIC right now, where I loved it for several months, but then once it did this, it started acting like a meme coin, and I didn't like this. This throws off the price action. It's like a splotch of paint on a masterpiece, right? So this range sort of was destroyed by this, and you could say, well, it was just one big deviation, right? But now that we're back there again, how are you going to interpret this? How are you going to trade with this? I won't trade it. I wouldn't trade it. you've got to pick your battles. This isn't one for me. And I also wouldn't short this here. So it's just not, I'm not going to cover it. Adam, Adam also will see this is that supply zone. It's up at it a second time, and now we see another rejection here. So, and a lot of bullish momentum headed up into it. This is from Wednesday, I think. I'm trying to get rid of these. I'm kind of a perfectionist with my charts. I like clean charts. But I think that Adam, I would maybe look to enter here, 1232, but I wouldn't enter here. Maybe it does consolidate and then break up higher. I don't like that as a setup for, I want to see it pull back. So Litecoin actually did pull back and now it's back. Yeah, actually, so it did give a trigger already. Litecoin, I did mention, I do believe that it's headed higher. I do believe that it's headed at minimum to 93. And then ultimately, this could give another trigger here if it really breaks out. I'm actually going to set an alert here at around 89.70. And I want to see, again, I'm going to drop to the lower time frames. I'm going to see if there's a big, strong candle that really penetrates this, because it's tried it several times already. And we know we have the context from the rest of the market. We have the green light. So this could happen over the weekend. A lot of these could pop off over the weekend. So Litecoin, I'll consider it. It may come up to that 93 level and then start to consolidate. That would be a really good sign, because, and ultimately I do think that Litecoin will come up to all the way up to 106, 107, maybe even a little bit higher than that. But this is the range where I'd be looking to really do business here. So if you, and this was also a bullish sign, right? You had the dip down. It's been very healthy as far as the movements. This could be a bull flag here. I don't like to use bull flag in a bear market, but it is. It's a bull flag. It's moving in the direction that you'd want it to. So I think that, again, I'm not going to try to anticipate. I mean, I am anticipating, but I'm not going to act on that anticipation. I need to have actual triggers. It needs to give some momentum as it nears this level before I'm going to make an entry on that. So a lot of the stocks are up today. Tesla's up 5%, Amazon's up 4%. I think Google's been crushing it. This Bitcoin mining stock, HUT, is up another 16%. It's been on an absolute tear since it bottomed here. It's up 144%. So that's actually an indication. I'm watching that also. The total market cap for cryptocurrencies recovering here. But I think we're largely range bound, and this was actually the mid of this range here. We're range bound for now. So, but looks like it wants to push higher and up almost, well, it's up 5% today, the total market cap for crypto. That's significant. So let me see if there's any of the other alts that are worth looking at. XRP, we'll see. XRP is, yeah, it's also looking strong, looking like it wants to push higher. I don't know that it's going to actually pull back here. It may just continue north from here. But if I was already in a long, or I was considering a long, well, this breaking out above this mid maybe would be a trigger with some strength, and then definitely targeting this 0.445 zone and seeing what happens from there. Maybe it ultimately pushes back up to this monthly level around 51 cents. I wouldn't fade this. I'm not going to fade anything right now. Yeah, I wouldn't fade this move right now. That's just where I'm at. Phantom really isn't all that interesting to me, but it also looks like it wants to push up higher. there is a little bit of a zone here that I would watch out for, and that actually wicked up to it the first time. So that's at around 35 cents. But once it breaks free of that, then we're looking at this zone up here. That's around 37.373 is the mid, and then ultimately coming back up. Phantom could easily come back up to 41 cents over the next week or two. So when you see a big strong move, you've got to think about how is there enough time for the market to digest the move, and there's going to need to be some time probably over the weekend for this move to digest. And I think that we'll see what we usually see during an alt season, where alts will just pop off at different times. Link also, notice they're all in sort of the same place right now. They all are on the verge of really breaking out. And since Bitcoin and Ethereum already have done that and are basically holding right now, there's no reason why they can't. So there's no reason why Link can't push up to 725 minimum. This is also another one I'll be maybe looking at here. I'm going to set an alert here. Now, mind you, I don't just enter a trade blindly just because it clears a level, but if it does it with some force after it's already made several attempts and it came all the way down again, this is usually a move where it's just gathering the momentum to really push up. So that's the place where this chart is at right now. So 725, and then back up to the mid, maybe somewhere up here, 750, 753, and then all the way up to 775. Absolutely high probability, in my humble opinion, for Link. It's good that I'm looking at these because it's also, I'm seeing which charts I want to focus on the weekend. So right now I have Link and Litecoin. Dot, same thing, right? Same sort of pattern with Dot. It's broken down, but then it came back up above, deviated back inside, back at the top of the range, likely headed higher. I don't like these wicks, but it will probably head higher from here. Sand, same exact thing. And you see there's sort of a clear blue sky here for sand until up here, which is around between 8.83 and 0.85. So it would not surprise me to see sand really, but it's up 8% today. Actually, it looks like it's doing it right now. Let's drop down and see what's going on. Yep, sand looks like it's breaking out right now. Maybe really pushes up here even higher. I don't know. I don't know if I would take this trade, but I do think it wants to push up higher here. So interesting to see this. I think we're going to see this over the next couple of hours and into the weekend. Uniswap. It's nice to see this because it's going to bring more energy back into crypto. It's going to bring more money back into crypto, more importantly. But yeah, that's not tradable for me. I don't want to trade that or SHIB. Aptos is up 33.5% today. I will tell you that this is one of my small cap superstars. Yeah, and I was covering it when it was at $3. So just putting it out there. There's other ones too that are doing really, really well right now. Aptos is really going insane. I was hoping that it would hold back a little bit for the rest of this accumulation, but we'll see. Maybe it comes back down. It's already back where it was at listing. Actually, it's really breaking out now. Would I long this? Damn, that's great. Wow, look at it go. Oh my God. Okay, so it's breaking out right now. And you can, wow, this is fun to watch, right? Now it's up 42%. This is kind of crazy, right? Be careful. Be careful. This is gambling, right? It was just up 30 3%. Now it just went up another 8% in the last 2 minutes. So be careful with these. There's thin liquidity, and this could get crushed down as quickly as it went back up, as it went up. But it's actually just literally cleared. This was a pretty significant zone. And it actually only tested it for the first time. So, I mean, at minimum, it should retest this $10 level. But I don't typically trade these. I'm just looking more from an accumulation standpoint, because there's not enough information here for me to really trade this. This may be the range that it's created here. But that's pretty crazy. I'm not sure if there's anything fundamental that's driving this. I'll have to look into it after I finish this stream. But I'm not seeing, I'm not sure what else is. Yeah, they're all pretty crazy right now. I know that I haven't looked at Mana in a while. It's doing the same thing. A lot of these, but that's a major resistance level for Mana, right? But it's coming back inside a pretty significant range. So this is giving a continuation sign. All of the alts are giving a continuation sign. But I don't like it when it happens all at once. That's where I start to get concerned. 𝐬𝐨𝐦𝐬𝐬 was one that someone in the group was talking about and trading a lot. 𝐬𝐨𝐬, same thing. Did pull back, got back inside. Potential long trigger here. But that was already big, strong move up here. I mean, 𝐬𝐨𝐬 really moved. Don't know why. 160%. Now, well, 100. It actually went up 200% in just not too long of a period there. So, so we know what we're looking for here. These are signs of continuation. And it's ironic because I make the titles for the video, for the live streams before I go live, like several hours before. So it was before the breakout and you have to anticipate to some extent. But I'm noticing that gold is looking a little bit toppy. And when gold starts to top out and the dollar starts to come back, that's usually a sign of a correction, a deeper correction. So we're not there yet, though. I don't think that we're there yet. So always pay attention to these charts in addition to the cryptocurrency charts. And that's what many traders fail to do. They fail to really take in the bigger context. I don't generally like trading on the weekends, but there was a couple weekends where we had some nice runs with some of the alts. Solana really now breaking out. Solana's breaking out now. I think I might need to get into trading mode here. Let me just take a look at this. Solana's breaking out. Okay. Did we get a retest here? Nope. See this rejection here? I don't like that. It is only a 5-minute candle, though. Hard to believe that it can continue. I mean, it's up 16% right now. I don't like this. Look at this. I mean, that's how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row. 7 hours straight of green. No real pullback here. Normally, I would, if there was some red in the mix, then I would say, okay, I don't like that candle. No, I think it's going to reject. We'll see. It could go either way, but I'm not going to long that. I mean, the markets have been pretty irrational lately, so, but just from my rules, let's see what happens over the next 5 minutes with this. It's still going. Maybe it gets another rejection. That's actually the first real strong rejection in many hours for Solana. So notice I'm looking at the size of the candles. I'm looking at the length of the wicks here. For those of you that are still paying attention to this, I think I'm still live. It's just, this is actually a good case study because I rarely cover alts when they're really breaking out. And I'm just giving my own approach here. The only reason that normally I would say absolutely not, I would not long this, but the only reason I would say maybe is because Bitcoin and Ethereum are holding up really well right now. Let's just go back and see if, go back to Litecoin. Not really doing much yet. And Link was the other one that had on watch there. So I really think that there's going to be a lot of movement here over the weekend. Wow, look at AVAX. What the hell is AVAX doing? Look at that candle. Look at that on the 1 hour. It really went down strong. Look at that rejection. Ooh, I think AVAX is getting ready to break out here. That actually, see, I like that because there was a real strong attempt to push this down and it completely failed from a place where you would expect there to be resistance. But then we haven't seen the breakout yet for AVAX. I think earlier in the stream I was saying that I wouldn't long this, but actually with that changes things for me. If it breaks above here, then we've got this range to work with. We'll see. Sometimes you get that sort of fluke. Yeah, that's crazy. That's a crazy candle for AVAX. Well, that just happened in the last 10 minutes. So that was a stop run, potentially in preparation for a real strong breakout. AVAX is already up 7.5% today. So, oh, Bitcoin. Okay, maybe that explains it. Bitcoin's breaking above. This is wild. This is crazy. It's like bull market momentum right now. It feels like it. Yeah, I still think it's going to wick above here. I still think maybe it runs all the way up to this 22,750. But it's not a place to trade for me. But then again, like I said, like even if Bitcoin rejects here, the alts are still going to have the green light. Even if Ethereum rejects here, alts are still going to have the green light and they can remain irrational for as long as they want. There goes Solana. It's still going. Yep. It's there it is. There's the breakout. I don't feel bad not taking it. I was weighing it for a minute there, but I don't feel bad about this one. That's crazy. It was so oversold. Everyone thought it was completely dead. It's back from the dead, folks. Solana's back from the dead, up 18% today. I remember down here giving a long trigger here. That was at around $11. Of course, I mean, I think I rode some of this, but I did not get all of this. But how much of a move has this been? This is almost 200% for Solana. Back in the top 10, I think. So absolutely wild. Still no comments on the, yeah, I don't know what's the deal with YouTube. It's like, who do I talk to? Who do I complain to? Maybe I should complain to Mr. Schwab. I don't know. So yeah, this is wild. This is crazy to watch. I think there's no telling how high Solana could go, but we talked about that zone up here, but that's all the way up at 27, between 2750 and 2028 something. It's too rich for my blood. It's too rich for my blood. I'd rather not. I'd rather at least see a pullback back down to 2450. There's just too many green candles in a row for Solana. I want to see a retest on that. If it doesn't retest, that's fine. No big deal. MATIC is pushing up now. Atom is pushing up now. AVAX, yeah, that looks really interesting. It really tried to push down. So anyways, I think that you should well, do whatever you want to do, but I'm going to be keeping an eye on these, especially in the next 2 to 3, 4 hours maybe, and see what kind of a tone is set for the weekend, for once we actually might have some strong action over the weekend. So yeah, this is good. It's a good sign. I think it's, regardless, it's a good sign for cryptocurrency, because it's getting the interest back. It's changing this, flipping the sentiment, and that was really needed. But be very careful here. This is not a place where I'm not accumulating spot. I still don't have any spot. I'm perfectly fine. Look, if it comes back up and I just completely proven wrong here, I'm willing to be wrong. Maybe this was just the accumulation and we're just all of a sudden done with it. We break out here. That's fine. Then, and it starts to really show strength here, then I would start to buy at 25, 26. But I think that more likely it's gonna come up and then come back down, at least come back down to the mid at minimum. But January, you sort of had to anticipate this would be a strong month for crypto and for the stock market as well. So we're still in January. We're 20 days into January. We've got a little bit of time left in this month. It's a big, strong candle for Bitcoin. Let's see where it closes. Probably will close somewhere between 22,150 and 22,400 if I had to guess. And then we'll probably hold there for the weekend. So keep an eye on these alts: AVAX, Link, Solana, MATIC, Atom, Litecoin. Yep, it's pushing up. It's pushing up now. Let's see what happens if it clears this level here. I'm going to move this alert down here. Okay, well, I'm going to end the stream. Please let me know if this was helpful for you in the comments below. Again, check out my resources on my website. Helps to support my work, keeps me going through the lean times. And have a beautiful rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend.